Let's start with Manawa, though. Let's start with the main card. Manawa versus your boy Volkan. Who you got, Jen?
You know what? I'm on this hype train now. Oezdemir.
You got Oezdemir?
Yeah, I'm on the hype train now.
Yeah, listen, I think, God, if Oezdemir gets fucking touched, though, Manawa hits so goddamn hard.
But don't you think he might be taking him just a little lightly?
You think, especially after he murked that Misha in like 10 seconds? What? He murked him in 28 seconds. And then, see, the issue is, so he has one loss, and it's by submission neck crank. For sure don't get neck cranked at this day and age. But he has one loss. The thing that kind of scares me is the one guy he fought who's very similar with not as good striking, but just as explosive is Oezdemir. He won by split decision. Go to Jimi Manawa for me. Do you have the odds up too?
Yeah, they're on the right here. You want to see it first, or?
No, I'm going with Jimi Manawa.
All right,
let's see. He knocks him out. What's the odds?
Jimi Manuwa minus 170.
Yeah.
Against plus 150. It's not huge.
No, it's not huge. I'll take Jimi Manuwa.
Cool. I got Oezdemir.
Ooh, I'll take Jimi Manuwa by knockout first round.
Holy crap.
Yeah, he's going to murk him. I would listen. I like Jimi Manuwa, but I think it's just, to me, it's a hilarious story. Volkan, this motherfucker's ranked number 5.
Came out of nowhere.
Boom, split decision to OSB, knocked out homeboy because he ran straight forward with his chin up. Number 5. Shows you how weak light heavyweight is.
Yeah.
Jimi Manawa, listen, the division kind of needs a guy like Jimi Manawa, especially at light heavyweight, because so you got, anytime he's faced the upper echelon, he's got dealt with. He's just not at that level. His boxing might be, but as far as mixed martial arts, he's just not at that level. He's an amazing fighter. He's a fun fighter. Light heavyweight needs kind of a new contender, but against DC or Jones, it's not a fight. He doesn't. It's not even a fight. I don't want to watch it. Gustin murked him. Anthony Johnson fucking rocked his world. It shows you how weak the light heavyweight division is. But I'll take Jimi Manuwa via knockout.
Cool.
Oof.
Next one.
Oof.
Donald Cerrone, Robbie Lawler.
God, dog. This is a great fight. This again, with this fight, there's 2 fights that are tough to call on this card, and it's the X factor. And with Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone, Donald coming off that loss, right, to Jorge Masvidal in his hometown, which he shouldn't have been taking. We actually have Cowboy on the Fire and the Kid this week. So with Cowboy coming off that loss to Jorge Masvidal, and before that, he's on this fucking path, especially at 170. That Matt Brown fight, granted, we all see that head kick knockout. We're like, damn, he's ready to go. Then he jumps right into the next month. He fights less than 4 weeks later and fights Jorge Masvidal. That Matt Brown fight, he got rocked in that fight, man. He should not have been fighting Jorge. Not that Jorge couldn't beat him either way, but that wasn't the best Cowboy version we should have seen. Cowboy's had rest. He's taken time off. So now he's fighting Robbie Lawler. Anytime Cowboy has issues, and again, I'm going to get into it when he's on the show tomorrow, but anytime he has issues is when Cowboy likes to be the bully. He likes to go forward, his pace, his control. If he goes first and he's in the right frame of mind, he's going to eat you alive. When guys like Matt Brown, Dos Anjos, Anthony Pettis, Diaz, when Nate Diaz, when those guys draw a line in the sand, go, you're not gonna bully me, man. I'm drawing a sign right here. Come and get it. And they can box. It gives Cowboy some issues. Robbie Lawler's not really a guy who likes to go backwards either, and he's a guy who hits like a Mack truck. But again, remember, Robbie Lawler turned this fight down before not because he's scared. It's Robbie Lawler, for God's sakes. If you guys think he's scared, you're out your goddamn mind. He was going through a camp. He didn't know where exactly. You remember he left ATT. He was trying to figure things out. Obviously, I don't know where he ended up, but he figured things out. Maybe he's in a better frame of mind. In his last fight, he lost his belt and he got knocked out by Woodley. But before that, he's best 170 fight maybe ever against Roy McDonald. He has those fights with Johnny Hendricks, the Carlos Condit fight. So the huge X factor is which Robbie Lawler shows up.
And which Cerrone, right?
Which Cerrone, but I kind of know which Cerrone is going to. Yeah. But to me, it's more of which Woodley. Which Woodley? Is it the back nine of his career?
Lawler.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Robbie Lawler, yeah. Who you got, Jen?
I'm just going to go with Lawler, but I really think Cowboy can win.
Okay, I'm going to tell Cowboy that tomorrow when he comes in.
I'm
just kidding. I listen, it's again, that's the X factor, but I will take Don Cerrone via decision. What's the odds on that?
Let's check. Lawler -155. Cowboy +135.
It's a tough fight. What else you got?
Let's look.
That's when you know it's a good card.
Cyborg against Tonya Avenger. And they don't even have her actual picture on.
Damn, they just got a black avatar for a picture. Jesus. How do you not just upload a picture of her?
I don't know.
She's Invicta. Yeah. Anyways. Listen. If Tonya Evinger came in with full armor like Game of Thrones in a full knight outfit with a bazooka and a heat-seeking missile launcher, I would still take Cris Cyborg. If Tonya Evinger came in with 4 bodyguards who aren't John Jones, DC, Anderson Silva, and Brock Lesnar, I would still pick Tonya Evinger to lose. If Tonya Evinger came in with Bruce Lee and Mike Tyson in her corner, with Muhammad Ali in vintage form telling her what to do in her ear, I would still pick Cris Cyborg. This is the biggest mismatch on the card. Cris Cyborg will destroy this young girl. I shouldn't say young because she's a vet, but Cris Cyborg by any way she wants. And it's going to be a complete beatdown. And because it's a beatdown, she won't get performance of the night, unfortunately. You taking Tonya?
You know what? No, of course
It'd be
not.
hilarious if you did. She's tough. If you know anything about Tonya Evinger, she's tough as freaking nails. She's very tough. Tough gets you hurt when you fight Cris Cyborg. And I hope she's being compensated for it. Because remember, she was supposed to fight Megan Anderson, and Megan couldn't because of visa issues or whatever. And so Tonya stepped up to the plate. Enjoy that.
Tough girl.
If Tonya came in with 2 axes and a machete on her back, she still would be an underdog. If it was a tag team match, if it was Tonya Evinger versus Kylie Curran and freaking Misha Tate, I'll take Cris Cyborg. If they could tag each other off and jump in if one got tired, Cris Cyborg would knock all 3 of them out in a row. It's the biggest mismatch on the card. And that shows you how good Cris Cyborg is, because Tonya Evinger is a very skilled and tough veteran opponent. Doesn't matter. Moving on.
Tyron Woodley, Demian Maia.
Let me see the odds.
-220 for Woodley, +180 for Maia.
God. If you're a betting man, you like a lot of these odds. I'm just looking up the whole card right now. Oh, wow. Brian Ortega's an underdog. Who the fuck has him an underdog? That's crazy. Wow. And they have Curran as an underdog. And Donald is an underdog. Damian Maia is an underdog. Sterling is a favorite. You got to like Henry Burrell a little bit in that. Then you got DC as a big underdog. All right, go back to the card.
Dude,
I usually pick an underdog fight of the night. This is a tough one to pick because there's so many bets you could win money on if you like money. The huge X factor in this fight is, obviously Woodley's a monster. Can I tell you something that bothers me about this? Last week Woodley was in New York doing press, a lot of press. He was on Sway in the Morning doing his rap, which I thought was very good. Shout out to Woodley on that. I think that's great. But that's your last week to train for a fight. It's one of your most critical weeks. And he's out doing press. That bothers me. You know what Demian Maia was doing?
Training,
doing jiu-jitsu, choking guys unconscious. Not doing press. That really bothers me. And the other thing is, Demian Maia, people forget how big he is. Remember, he manhandled Chael Sonnen, tossed Chael Sonnen on his head, and reverse triangle choked him. Inverted triangle choked him. From mount, then rolled, choked him out. And I'm talking Chael, Lance Armstrong, Sonnen. Not USADA Chael, like monster Chael. He tossed him around. Demian Maia is a natural 185er. He's a huge 70er. That's why he's having so much success. As an underdog, I like Maia, man. I like Maia. I think for 5 rounds, the big thing is going to be can Woodley, defend choke, stuff like that. I don't know if Woodley has the same jiu-jitsu defense as a Masvidal. As a straight up dog, I like Maia if I want to make money. I can see him winning. Mm-hmm. I see some things, obviously the stand-up game, Woodley's going to be, if he lands, it's game over.
Yeah.
I don't like that he's doing this press this close to the fight. That bothers me. That really bothers me. If you can avoid getting knocked out by Wonderboy Thompson for 2 fights in a row, you can definitely avoid getting knocked out by Demian Maia. The thing is, Demian Maia, I think, should be pulling guard, trying to reverse sweep him, stuff like that, and get his back, which I'm sure they're working on. Because you're not going to take him down naturally. Although he did take down Chael, he's taking down tough guys, but he should be pulling guard, half guard, looking for a scissor sweep, elevator sweep, stuff like that, and to get his back. Can he do that for 5 rounds? I don't know. But he's figuring out, though. He's won 2, 4, 6, 7 fights in a row against the top of the top.
Yeah.
Look at all the guys he's beat. The top of the top. Very, very best in the world. He's beat them. I guess Dong Young Kim, let's see. That's the other thing about Demian Maia. He got knocked out at Nate Marquardt when he fell in love with his striking. He went to go kick and Nate checked and knocked him to fucking back to Brazil. Other than that, doesn't get knocked out. Tough guy to knock out. Chance of Woodley knocking out, not good. Again, how's his cardio for 5 rounds? More than likely not, Woodley should win this fight. Maia's not an easy guy to knock out. If he does go to the ground, Woodley's in trouble. As a dog, I like Maia. I'll take Maia in this. Who do you like, Jen?
I've always liked Maia.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Because he's just, like you said, he's so huge.
Here's the other thing about Maia. He's the only guy in the UFC, the only guy, where you know exactly what he's got to do to win, and you cannot stop him. And he's beat the best of the best in the world at 85 and 70. And to a T, there's no mystery. There's nothing, I want to take all that out. You know exactly what he wants to do, and he still gets it done. That's so impressive to me. It might be boring for the common person to watch something like that. It's so impressive. We know to a T what he's going to do, and you can't do shit about it. That's insane at this level, especially in 2017. Name another guy who's doing that. We know Wonder Boy's going to strike. He's not going to take you down, but he has left, right leg, elbows, jab, cross, hook. He has all these different ways to do it. Demian Maia goes in, forget all that. It's like it's 1993, Royce Gracie. Still gets it done. 2017. Appreciate the hustle. Don't boo the man. Let's go to the main event.
Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier.
Casada, watch this fight over and over. I was like, I'm not that excited. Jon Jones kind of dismantled DC. Not really, young Chab. Not really. Go back and watch the fight. 19-1 versus 22-0. I don't count that Matt Hamill as a loss. I refuse to acknowledge that. So Jon Jones undefeated, never been beat. He's had a couple close fights, obviously with Gustafsson. That DC fight was close. Not as close to the Gustafsson fight, but a lot closer than I thought. Here's a few things to consider in this fight. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. Mm-hmm. Number 1, ring rust. Jon Jones, when he fought OSP, there was some serious ring rust there. He won decision when he should have dismantled OSP. OSP is a tough customer. He has no business being there with Jon Jones. He just doesn't. Talent-wise, you're talking about the greatest of all time. He really shouldn't be in there with him. So you have ring rust is 1. 2, remember, it's in California. So the rules. Jon typically fights like this, so to keep you at bay. Remember, there's a lot of eye pokes. There's been a lot of issues with eye pokes. Now you're going to get points taken away from you. You cannot have an open hand. You have open palm. I think you do a palm, but you cannot have his hands out like this. He's going to get warned once, and then you're going to take points. So he can't be doing that anymore. You got to take that into consideration. Yeah. The other big thing is, with that ring rust, if we go based off his OSP fight, he's a very slow starter. He likes to feel the lights, get warmed up, get going. DC's not. Against Anthony Johnson, comes straight forward. Against Gustafsson, comes straight forward. Against Jon Jones in that first round, he's coming, man. How's John? John's not gonna have time to warm up. There's no warm up there. There's no ring rust. You're not able to feel things out because DC knows this and he's coming forward. I think DC wants to be in the clinch. He had more of a success the first time they fought in the clinch with his uppercut, stuff like that. The only reason that first takedown came is because he threw that shitty Charlie Brown kick. If you don't throw that, definitely give him the first round. And I think because John told him in those interviews, I'm going to take you down. You've never been taken down. I'm going to take you down. And he kind of did it with that kick. I think that got DC. And then you see DC kind of trying to get that back. It flushed him. It upset him. The wrestler in him, his ego kind of took over. He got away from his game plan. And John started to win a few rounds after that. So the whole thing with this is what John Jones shows up. When people go, he's been dedicated, man. He's in camp now. He's eating his veggies, meat and potatoes. He's ready to go. God, is that the best John? Or does John need to be wild? Does he need to be out with hookers till 2 a.m. and showing up the next day, maybe a little hungover or loosey-goosey, not living all the pressure of this fight and being this creative martial artist that he is? I don't know, man. There's great musicians, and one of the reasons they're great is because they're up to 3 a.m. doing drugs, living this wild life. If you force him to live in a suit and sit at a desk, are they as creative? Nope. I think John's one of those guys. When I hear he's being real disciplined, and I'm not saying I want him being on drugs, stuff like that. What I'm saying is I don't know if I want him in that same category as a Sage Northcutt who's sleeping, eating, drinking, praying at night, doing everything right. That's not John. He's not his creative best. OSP, there's a lot of pressure. Ring rust. He had a great camp. It looked like shit. Wasn't that creative in that fight? Very predictable. For DC, again, it's just 1 foot in, 1 foot in. What DC shows up? If DC were to get finished, I would not be surprised if he retires. What's left for DC? What are you going to hang around for Jimi Manawa? Anthony Johnson's gone. You beat Gus, and what the light heavyweight's just old. Go to heavyweight. Get a heavyweight, see how you do against Stipe in a super fight. Maybe take one fight against Stipe if they give you a title shot right away. Or, obviously you're never fighting Kane. Or you fight Verdum or something like that. But other than that, I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. He has this flourishing career with the UFC being a commentator. He's great at it. He's working all the pay-per-views. He's working UFC tonight. What's John doing when he's doing all that, Jen?
I don't know.
He's training.
Sometimes.
training or
Partying.
Doing John Jones.
Yeah.
But what he's not doing is traveling, doing all that. He's doing what got him to the dance, which is whatever it is that got him to the dance. With dick pills or being out 2 a.m. Either way, he's doing what made him world champion. He's not commentating. He's not traveling around the world. He's not doing all that stuff. That plays a factor, man. So with DC, what DC shows up? The odds. There's a part of me where, because let's say John has ring rust, it's going to take him 2 to 3 rounds to get going. Mm-hmm. DC doesn't need to get going. With his fighting style, his chin, his embrace the grind kind of mentality, I can see DC getting up 2 rounds to none. That 3rd round's going to be key. John's going to make some adjustments in the 3rd round, and then 4th and 5th, I see John winning. That 3rd round is this fight. Granted, if no one gets TKO'd or finished, which I don't think is going to happen. Look at all John's last fights. Look at DC's last few fights. Mm-hmm. 3rd round's going to be the difference maker. First 2 rounds, I think DC wins with his pace, tenacity, pressure, octagon control, clinch, ring rust of John. So you're basically betting on that 3rd round. Because I think what happens in that 3rd round will predict what 4th and 5th round, which typically sways towards John Jones, his fighting style.
So you got Jones for sure.
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I have that 3rd round being the deciding factor. I think DC comes out with his pace, again, with his fighting style, and banking on John having ring rust, which is real, which we saw in the OSP fight. He hasn't fought in a long time. There's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of hostility between the two. They hate each other. John's in this weird frame of mind. Those first 2 rounds will be tough for John. Doesn't get finished, loses those first 2 rounds. That's basing off the version of DC that fought John that first time. If DC comes with the Anthony Johnson with the love handles and the on focused, Then it's a toss up. Then John could win the 1 round. Maybe DC edges out the second round. Then John takes over 3, 4, and 5, and you don't have a close fight. DC in shape, ready to go, which he is because this is the biggest rival in the sport right now. I think DC wins the first 2 rounds. Third one depend on John's adjustments and his feeling out process. That third round's the big question mark here. 4th and 5th, I bet John wins. If I'm a betting man, at a plus 235, I'm leaning towards DC in this fight, which is insane to say. But everything that's going on with John, these are tough fucking fights to call, man. Who do you got?
I got DC. I don't know why, like usual. I just have DC.
You ride or die with your faves, huh?
I don't even. You know how he was? He wasn't like in the best shape against Rumble.
Yeah, with his glove handles.
And the whole towel thing that happened.
The other thing you got to remember too, California don't play that game.
Yeah.
In New York, since it was a title fight, he did that. And remember, he missed weight and they let him come back. You know, in California, you get 1 shot. Then it's out. There's no towel. There will be no towel gate. California does not, but California's strict as fuck. The other guys cut Chael. The other guys do not play, homie. They do not want to mess around in California. Probably the strictest there is.
And if that happens, that screws John too, because
no title on that. Yeah, it's all gone. He'll make DC make weight.
But yeah, he wasn't. He looked like crap. Remember,
DC looked like pure shit. I think I text you.
But then afterwards,
had a muffin top.
Yeah, afterwards I was like, wow, I was super impressed about how he handled Rumble. So I don't know.
Let's talk about a Rumble who shit his pants, didn't want to fight in there, started wrestling DC for God's sakes.
But yeah, the layoff, all that stuff. I don't know. That's why I take DC.
Talking about, to me, John Jones pound for pound greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Long layoff though. First 2 rounds, I don't think if I'm DC, I go, you push the pace, you get in his face, embrace the grind. Let's get up 2 rounds. That 3rd round's gonna be a bitch. Let's try and win that. 4 and 5, we can get our rest in, just don't get finished. And you win 3 rounds of 2.
It's fun, right? Because it's like,
it's such a fucking tough pick. But yeah, because what Jones shows up, which DC shows up. But as a huge underdog, I can see DC winning. Those first 2 rounds, I see him getting out top. 3rd round's a huge question mark. 4 or 5, just don't get finished. You win the fight 3-2. I hate making this pick, but god damn it, obviously I have to give you guys a pick. God, so much is on the line for John Jones in there.
For both, I think.
Is there for DC?
Because I think
it validates him if he wins.
Yes, he this entire time I feel like he himself feels like crap. I'm really not the champion. He's convincing himself that he is, but he knows deep inside that he's really not until he beats John.
Correct.
So I think this is huge for both of them. This is where John turns his life around. You know?
Does he?
Well, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Does he?
But no.
Whoo!
That's what makes this so much fun.
It does. Again, if I'm a better man, I go DC. But the smart choice would be John Jones. My analysis on it is though DC in pure DC form gets out 2 rounds. That 3rd round's huge X factor. 4 or 5, John wins. That 3rd round's gonna be everything. Make your decision from there. Boom. Amazing card. UFC 214 this Saturday.